After disappointing results in Iowa and New Hampshire, Joe Biden is banking on success in the next two early voting states. With a more diverse electorate, Nevada and South Carolina have the potential to shift the focus toward racial issues, a strong point for the former vice president. Biden spent his final weekend before the Nevada caucus campaigning in Las Vegas. On Sunday, he spoke during Mass at the First AME Church. Biden closed his remarks by slamming President Trump's handling of the deadly white supremacist rally in Charlottesville back in 2017.
The racists are no longer wearing police overalls. No, they're not the bull conduct. They're not out in overalls. They're wearing fine suits. And they're living in the White House.
2020 campaign reporter Bo Erickson has been following the campaigns of Joe Biden and Amy Klobuchar and joins me now from Reno. Hi, Bo. So the former vice president has said more diverse states like Nevada and South Carolina will eventually be the ones to pick the Democratic nominee. So what is he doing in these final days before the Nevada caucus to reach out to minority communities there?
Well, hi there from sunny Reno. But you're right. He did spend the weekend reaching out to minority groups, specifically the African-American community here, which represents about 10% of all citizens in Nevada, and the Latino community, which is about 30% of all voters here as well. He went to that church yesterday, and it kind of represented a twofer for Joe Biden. First, he got his religious service in for the day. He is a devoutly religious man, and when you watch him in the pews with the other congregants there, you could tell that he was picking up what was really being laid down at the pulpit there. But then the second, of course, reason why he's there is to broadcast his own political message. He talked about growing up and working and helping out the civil rights movement and talking about the racial divide in this country and how he thinks he can serve it. They are banking on this minority outreach in the state. He says 99% of African Americans, 99% of Latinos have not had their voice yet in Iowa and New Hampshire. And so we'll look forward to see if they actually come out to the polls for Joe Biden on Saturday.
And Bo, in New Hampshire, we saw Biden working hard to forge those distinctions between himself and candidates such as Bernie Sanders and Pete Buttigieg. Is that the message you've been hearing from him on the campaign trail?
It's actually changed a little bit. He's dropped the direct contrast with Senator Bernie Sanders and Pete Buttigieg. While he did have what was regarded as a very powerful speech the other night at a Clark County Democrats dinner, where he drew kind of some broad contrast with Senator Bernie Sanders on guns and with his health care position, he's not calling them out by name. We were kind of surprised to hear him go directly after both those two men, his biggest rivals in New Hampshire, but obviously we know how the results ended up, and so it seems like he's maybe kind of stepping back from some from criticism there, unless he's directly asked. His message in Nevada is strong on health care first, saying that these labor unions in the state should be able to keep their health care plans, the ones that they negotiated for. Yesterday at an infrastructure forum, he received applause for that, and then the other big message is guns. He said he's the only candidate who's actually defeated the NRA, while other candidates just talk about defeating them.
And Senator Amy Klobuchar's campaign is touting a $12 million fundraising boost since the New Hampshire debate. So, Bo, how is Joe Biden's fundraising going?
We have not heard from the campaign how their fundraising is going officially, so take that for what you will. Joe Biden himself, though, in several interviews last week, said that he's been raising $350,000 to $500,000 a day. Obviously, if you do that math, that is not what Amy Klobuchar is raising. So I've been speaking with donors and asked them if they're worried about money going forward for Joe Biden. They are obviously always the optimists since their money is on the line here, but they said they are hoping that Nevada will give them a big boost in the bank going into South Carolina.
And Bo, when it comes to the caucus goers you've been speaking to, do the results from Iowa and New Hampshire seem to have set a guideline for Democrats in Nevada, or do they appear to have different ideas about who they want to support on Saturday?
Like the voters in Iowa and in New Hampshire, the voters here in Nevada are proud. They say they make their own decisions, and they're not really taking into consideration too much how the finishes in those first two states have been. With that being said, when I've been talking to voters over the past couple of days here, some are saying they're worried. They don't understand when they go and see Joe Biden in the room why his goodwill is not translating into support at the polls and in these caucuses. One man and a couple other people have looked around and said the crowd all kind of looks like me, and that it's a little bit older here in the state. But just finishing out here, I do have to say the crowds are significantly different than in Iowa and New Hampshire. Here in Nevada, there's a little bit different feel, a little bit more upbeat vibes going on, and so the campaign is feeling hopeful going into the caucus next Saturday.
All right. Well, Bo Erickson, thank you so much. You're doing a great job out there on the trail.
Thank you, Tanya.